Hi, Yaya. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I know that guy in the background.
I thought you might recognize him a little bit.
A little bit. I'll be looking different in these movies, so sometimes I don't. It's hard to recognize myself.
One of the first questions that I wanted to ask you is, it's one thing to know who Bobby Seale was, but to really immerse yourself into his life and what he stood for and fought for, how has his fight for freedom and really the fight for our humanity as Black people, has it changed your outlook as a Black man in America?
No, it hasn't changed my outlook. I think my outlook was always pretty aligned with a lot of the positions that he took. I think fortunately that's one of the things that helped me to step into the role quickly. But it was a very important reminder, an important boost, to have confidence and to be bold with my forms of activism, with my forms of educating myself, and with speaking out, because he put so much on the line. He, as we see in the film, he has friends and comrades who lost their lives in the fight for the betterment of people like us, and so it was just a reminder to be clear and to be bold, and to be willing to put yourself on the line for the causes that you believe in, which is so important to have that reminder these days.
Exactly. No, I totally agree. But it's interesting as we look at the trial of the Chicago Seven, we get an inside look at one of the biggest injustices that was happening within the trial was the treatment of Bobby Seale. Mm-hmm. And so I really wanted to ask you, how was it prepping for, especially the scene in the courtroom, for a moment that was so impactful, the moment that literally stayed with me until the movie was over and still many months after?
Yeah, to me, I wanted to hold on to Bobby Seale's humanity and to Bobby's dignity, to Bobby's dignity. I knew that scene, or that what took place in that court, was not designed to silence him because he was speaking out. It was actually designed to break his spirit, and to make sure that he didn't speak out once the gag came off, and to make sure that they use him as an example so that others didn't speak out and fight as vehemently as Bobby did for their rights. And so I kind of girded myself with that responsibility, and with that message, with that reminder to myself before I stepped into the fire, so to speak. And for me, thankfully, that was enough to carry me through those moments. But it was all about connecting to Bobby Seale's purpose, and protecting his humanity.
It's interesting that you spoke about trying to break his spirit, because it's one of the things that he says, you can't break the spirit of a revolutionary.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know, after that scene, like, do those words hit you differently after watching the film, after having to act out that scene?
Well, not afterwards, but in preparation. I had to learn a lot in order to prepare. I had to learn a lot in order to prepare. Now, what going back and watching it did let me know was that I did the preparation in order to make sure that he was victorious, and make sure that he was not seen as a victim in that moment. I never wanted him to be victimized. I knew that horrible things were going to happen to him slash me as the actor going through that performance, but I never wanted to portray a victim. And I was just really, I was happy that I was able to go through that experience and tell that story without telling the story of a victim, but while telling the story of the victim, and Bobby Seale.